Do you believe that good and evil exist? The answer to this question separates Judeo-Christian values from secular values. Let me offer the clearest possible example: murder. Is murder wrong? Is it evil? Nearly everyone would answer yes, but now I will pose a much harder question. How do you know? I'm sure you think murder is wrong, but how do you know? If I asked you how you know that the earth is round, you would show me photographs from outer space or offer me measurable data. But what photographs could you show? What measurements could you provide that prove that murder or rape or theft is wrong? The fact is, you can't. There are scientific facts, but without God, there are no moral facts. In a secular world, there can only be opinions about morality. They may be personal opinions or society's opinions, but only opinions.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So that was a short clip from a YouTube channel called PragerU. So PragerU is short for Prager University. It's an American non-profit organization that creates videos on various political, economic, and philosophical topics from an American conservative right-wing perspective. So the organization PragerU was founded by the dude in the video, Dennis Prager, and what's this guy's name? Alan Estrin. Okay, but yeah, let's dive right into it. So I'd like to first Steelman what is being said, or what the main topic of the video is, right, before we start to critique all the points. So how do we know murder is wrong? That's the question that the video asks. Without objective morality, how do we know murder is wrong from a secular worldview? So his first main point is murder is objectively wrong only within Judeo-Christian values, which can be derived from the Bible. Outside an objective standard of morality, murder is not wrong. So we can confirm this by referring to the source material, the Bible itself. The verse, "Thou shalt not kill," those words specifically are found in Deuteronomy chapter 5 verse 17 and Exodus chapter 20 verse 13. So there are more verses that talk about killing, like in the books of Matthew, Exodus, Revelation, and so on. The Bible is pretty clear about killing and murder. Second point is that in the secular worldview, morality is only a matter of opinion, as it lacks objectivity outside of Judeo-Christian values. It makes morality an individual or societal opinion. This can be problematic because such morality is not objective, and without such objectivity, anything is justified. So it means people can kill willy-nilly, do whatever they like with no sense of moral compass, so to speak. I think that is what is being implied with that point. And so the question is, how does a person know that murder is wrong? What standards do people use to make moral assessments and moral judgments, right? And basically the whole point is that anyone who knows that murder is wrong, and basically anyone who knows right and wrong, what is moral and what is immoral, gets it from the Judeo Christian values. Those are the things that dictate a person's morals. Therefore, without God, murder, and by extension, any wrong or immoral thing would be permitted. So I think that is a good approximation of what Dennis Prager is saying in this video. Okay, so before I tear down what he's saying, let's jump into definitions. So let's define morality. This video in general deals with objective morality versus subjective morality, right? So morality is our beliefs over what is right and what is wrong when it comes to our behavior. It can come from religion, philosophy, or laws. Sometimes morality is black and white, meaning that behavior is either fully good or fully bad. And religious morality tends to think this way. Other times morality may be a bit grayer. So lying, for example, may not be necessarily seen as a good moral action, but there may be instances where lying will cause the least harm, and therefore lying would be the moral action to take. So let's talk about objective morality. Objective morality is the belief that morality is universal, meaning that it is not up for interpretation. Some people may think of objective morality as commandments from God, while other people think the universe has some objective rules we may follow. There are certainly arguments to be made for objective morality. For example, apologists for religion will define objective morality according to the commandments of their God. Other people may look at some universal laws such as murder being bad. Okay, let's go into subjective morality. This is the opposite of objective morality in a sense, and that subjective morality says that our morals are all man-made. They can vary from person to person, and while there are strong morals shared by most of humanity, such as killing, many morals are subjective as to whether they are correct or not, right? So, for example, the belief that homosexuality is immoral tends to stem from people who are highly religious, and they believe so due to it being seemingly unnatural and against the word of God. However, those who are less religious tend to see no moral problem between two consenting adults of the same sex, and such interactions end up not hurting anyone. Let's structure Dennis Prager's arguments into two cases before we can take them down. So if you think that I didn't do him justice, let me know in the comments below. I'll definitely read those, and I'd like to hear your thoughts. I definitely have time to read comments from all 5 of my subscribers. But anyways, case 1, let's go. Premises. Okay, first premise, God is the objective standard of morality. Second premise, God says murder is wrong, and therefore the conclusion is murder is wrong. This argument can also be extended to other moral assessment or judgments. Basically, you could put the word murder and wrong as placeholders. So where there is murder, you can assess any particular action, and for wrong it can be substituted with right. So God says X is either right or wrong. Let's look at the second case. The premises. In the secular worldview, there is no God. Second premise, there is no standard for what is wrong. Therefore, the conclusion, murder is not wrong. Similarly to the first case, this argument can be extended to other moral assessments or judgments. So we'll start with the first case. In my opinion, Dennis Prager's argument breaks down within the first premise within the first case. That being, God is the objective standard of morality. Firstly, the case needs to be made for God's existence. particularly the God of the Judeo-Christians, all while making an assertion using justification that has not been backed, just makes the point invalid. Okay, second point. No case is made for why God is the objective moral standard. It's basically watered down to because he says so. That is no reason, it's just mere assertion, both for God and Dennis. So no validation is made for God to be the objective moral standard. Third point, the God in question is at times inconsistent or outright hypocritical of his own moral commandments. Inconsistent in that he will command X and the opposite of X, and hypocritical in that command X and do the opposite of X. God has committed, condoned, or commanded mass genocides on numerous occasions, for example, since we are on the topic of murder. Firstly, the flood, the cities of plain, including Sodom and Gomorrah, the Egyptian firstborn sons during the Passover, the Canaanites under Moses and Joshua, the Amalekites being annihilated by Saul. So it's basically a case of do as I say, not as I do. Premise 1 is where the first case breaks down, right? The other premise follows from the first premise, and so the conclusion follows from the second premise, and so I do not need to address it. Let's jump into case 2. Case 2. The second premise is where case 2 tends to break down. So that being, in the secular worldview, there is no standard for what is right and what is wrong. This is not just not true, right? It's a flat out lie. I'd accuse Dennis himself for being intentionally dishonest or misleading. Secular moral systems are more inclusive, dynamic, encourage change, and serve the interest of participants, whereas religious moral systems serve only the interest of an external authority, and they are unchanging. Simply put, human beings are a social species. As a social species, human beings live in groups and have common goals as a group. Generally, these goals include happiness, well-being, and staying alive. Such goals are best reached through cooperation from all individuals within the group. This cooperation is then established through social norms and laws. These laws may differ from group to group based on time, location, and circumstance. So, individuals who do not follow these norms and laws hinder the progress to these goals. As a result, perpetrators may face isolation or punishment from the rest of the group. So, it logically follows that murder infringes on well-being and staying alive. It therefore follows that murderers face isolation and not to be punished by the in-group, the society. Simple. Even though it's not simple, but that's it. No God required. Morality is subjective. It is relative. That is how we can decide on what is right and what is wrong. Things are not just merely right or merely wrong on the basis of a deity saying so. At this point, I believe that I have addressed the foundation of Prager's argument. Any more criticisms would be covering a nailed coffin underground in concrete. But Prager continues to make assertions that I would just like to swiftly address.
Many will argue that you don't need moral absolutes. People won't murder because they don't want to be murdered.
So, he's saying people do not murder because they don't want to be murdered. This is just a gross oversimplifications for motives not to murder. Take note that this is a straw man argument, right? He's basically setting up a straw man so that he can take down the case for Hitler and the Holocaust and the commitment of other mass genocides.
That argument is just wishful thinking. Hitler, Stalin, and Mao didn't want to be murdered, but that hardly stopped them from murdering about 100 million people.
Just as reasons to murder are not necessarily simple, so are the reasons not to murder, right? In the example of Hitler and the rest of the squad, these people were in positions analogous to those of the God of the Bible, right? So being in positions of power, they were not likely to face any repercussions for the crimes they committed. Murders or genocides committed in Nazism and communism regimes were not because of rejection of Judeo-Christian values. There were more complex and ideological and political reasons for these genocides. Reasons that I will not go to for this video. This video is long enough already.
It is also not a coincidence that the first societies in the world to abolish slavery, an institution that existed in every known society in human history, were Western societies rooted in Judeo-Christian values.
Abolishment of slavery came from societies that were rooted in Christian values. Yo! Good tricky, go wow, good tough. Talk about cherry picking. I invite you to read Exodus 21. You'll understand why I find this funny. And next point.
And so were the first societies to affirm universal human rights, to emancipate women, and to proclaim the value of liberty.
Universal human rights. Oh, guys. I invite you to read this article from News 24. Or if you're not convinced, just go straight to the source, the Bible. Leviticus is a good place to start. If you want a good world, the death of Judeo-Christian values is a good place to start. And with that, I think this is a good place to end the video. So yeah, guys, that's it. So thank you for spending those minutes of your life that you will never get back, just to spend them with me, listening to me rambling on and on. But yeah, so if you liked what I do, please like, comment if you have any opinions, let's get a discussion going in the comments. What else? Share if you think my video is informative. If you dislike the video, go argue with your ancestors. Yeah, and that's to my subscribers, please switch on the notification bell, so you can get notified on what's happening and on the latest things. Otherwise, guys, I'm signing out. I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.